we don't have enough therapists for them.
I sat down with Homeboy Industries founder Father Gregory Boyle to talk about the challenges of keeping his nonprofit afloat. Homeboy Industries, which also removes gang tattoos, helps some 15,000 people a year overcome their pasts. Father Boyle later addressed the crowd gathered at Edendale Library in Echo Park.
We're a $20 million annual operation, so the long and short of it is half of that money comes from our 9 social enterprises, and then the other half we have to raise, which is a heavy lift. As soon as we raise $10 million, we have to go back and raise it all over again. That's really hard.
The library hosted Father Boyle, author of 2 best-selling books, as part of a program called Books to Action.
To humanize the issue and so that people don't get overwhelmed by the statistics of mass incarceration and reentry, but that they want to get involved with their community. So our civic component this year is we're creating welcome home kits for the organization A New Way of Life, which is a reentry program here in Los Angeles.
Mother Teresa diagnosed the world's ills correctly when she suggested that the problem in the world is that we've just forgotten that we belong to each other. So each one of us is sent forth, to be an enlightened witness, people who, through your kindness and tenderness and focused, attentive love, return people to themselves. We all need to be returned.
To learn more about Homeboy Industries and to make a donation to help keep programs going, log on to homeboyindustries.org. Well, people experiencing homelessness in the Northeast Valley now have a place they can go to get the help they need. It's a one-stop shop for much-needed services.
Today, I'm very proud to announce that through the collaborative efforts of working with my office, LA Unified, and North Valley Caring Services, that we are creating the first of its kind one-stop shop housing navigation center for families in the Northeast San Fernando Valley.
I look forward to bringing much-needed services to our community. I know firsthand the challenges that my students, families, and community face on a daily basis, and I know this will be a blessing to many of them. Having the services readily available for them in a one-stop shop, having the district services as well as county and local city officials support, it means the world to us.
This program is so wonderful for us. I just don't know how to explain that. And thanks to Monica and Manny that we are able to move on and hoping for the best.
As we continue to work with these families, we had hoped that a day like this would come in which we could possibly offer these families even more.
Alleged hate crimes in San Pedro have only bolstered the LGBTQ community. In fact, they've inspired a public acceptance never before seen in this waterfront town. The raising of the pride flag at Welcome Park is one example.
The working-class community of San Pedro is changing. What's traditionally been a blue-collar town is evolving to publicly embrace all colors of the Pride rainbow. On this Pride Month, San Pedro Councilman Joe Buscaino has a message for the LGBTQ+ community.
Take pride of being who you are. Own it. Celebrate it. Not just this month, not just this week, not just today, but every day. Know who you are, but we want to tell you we love you, we embrace you, and you are welcome here in San Pedro.
For the second straight year, community members raised the Pride flag at Welcome Park. San Pedro's newest tradition began last year, following a local man's claims that he was verbally and physically harassed by a few other locals simply because he is gay.
And it did take a moment of uncertainty and, an attack on another community member to bring this community out, but it's brought the best out, and it's just growing and growing every year, and we can't wait to keep it going.
Among the supporters, members of the NAACP local chapter.
As a community, we are accountable and we are responsible for one another and for the human rights of one another. And to give that respect and allow that privilege and that space to be free in who we are authentically.
This is our home. I was born and raised in Pedro, and we support all of this.
Leslie Jones and her partner Mona Sutton are placing pride flags throughout downtown San Pedro in honor of Pride Month. The couple is moved by the community's acceptance.
I want to say thank you, because tonight is the first night ever in public in San Pedro that Leslie and I have ever felt comfortable holding hands. And I'll tell you that we've been together, this summer will be 28 years.
I've lived here all my life. I never thought that this moment would ever come to fruition.
We love everyone regardless how you love, how you pray, how you look. This is a city that I know, this is a city that I'm proud to represent.
Over in Hollywood, even more LGBTQ celebrations as the Hollywood Museum honors over 100 years of LGBTQ contributions in the entertainment industry.
Gay, straight, however you identify yourself, it really doesn't matter. Because if you're a fan of classic and contemporary Hollywood, then LA's famed Hollywood Museum is for you. Especially now with this very special tribute to LGBTQ performers and portrayals on this very special Pride Month. LGBT icons in real life and as characters. They're on display in this once-a-year exhibit entitled Real to Real, Portrayals and Perceptions of LGBTs in Hollywood. Danelle Dadigan is president of the Hollywood Museum.
We've done it 7 years, and it's 6 years in participation with our council member, Mitch O'Farrell. I didn't even get a chance to finish the pitch of what it is that we do, and council member O'Farrell was like, you know, this is great for our community and the professional community as well as the local community.
The very first Christopher Street West parade was around the corner from where we're standing back in 1970. So that was very fitting because there's so much LGBT history right here in Hollywood that this is a wonderful fit for what she does in her mission in terms of just inclusiveness with all the history that happened right here to lead into the Pride Month festivities.
While also shining a spotlight on the contributions of LGBTs in entertainment. TV clairvoyant Tyler Henry receives the Future of Hollywood Award.
It's important to have visibility and awareness, and I think being in the media and being a public figure, it's important to be able to be true to who we are, because I think when we can be true to who we are, we can really inspire that in other people.
Hollywood legend Lily Tomlin, star of the Netflix series Grace and Frankie, receives the Trailblazer Award with her wife and writing partner, Jane Wagner.
We love the thought of being called trailblazers. It makes us feel very current and something out of Marvel Comics. We will cherish this award and all of you always.
And bravo to the Bravo Channel's Lisa Vanderpump. The star of Vanderpump Rules receives the Hollywood Legacy Award.
The good part is to shine a light on equal rights, on the LGBTQ community. And for that, I am truly grateful.
The exhibit honors over 100 years of LGBTs in film and in television. Check out Real to Real at the Hollywood Museum at 1660 North Highland Avenue in the heart of Tinseltown.
The exhibit runs through the end of September. Los Angeles firefighters risk their lives every day to protect ours. One day every year, the community gets a chance to come out and say thanks to some of LA's finest.
This event is basically a thank you for the denizens of downtown LA, to say thank you to the LA City Fire Department for what they do on a daily basis for us. The public servants that we have in the city of LA are phenomenal, and that we care about them.
Well, my brother was a fire chief, and so the fire department's always been close to my heart.
We have a whole bunch of people here participating, physicians, nurses, nurse practitioners, EMTs. So we're all here to help and support this great event and have some good food and good times together. So.
because the main purpose is to showing them some love, raise money for the fire department community.
These guys go to work every day not knowing if they're going to come home from work. We run out of a burning building, they run in. Just risking their life, in essence, every day without ever getting a kind of the gratitude that they deserve.
So I'm honored, like I told everybody, I said, I'm an actor and I live in the world of make-believe, but what these fire guys do is for real.
After the incident in 1998 with the loss of life in the fire, he started this event, and it was really just, you know, 1 or 2 food booths and a handful of people, and it's grown over the years to what it is today.
It's for a great cause. I just can't make it more plainer than that. You know, we helping our neighbors because they help us. It's just not one word that we appreciate you. We appreciate what you do. We want to show you some love.
HopeForFirefighters.org.
Proceeds from the event benefit the Los Angeles Firemen's Relief Association's Widows, Orphans, and Disabled Firemen's Fund. A new art exhibition is exploring the meaning of the color brown in culture, race, and politics. Anita Bennett takes us inside Brown Belongings.
With sculptures and drawings, Los Angeles artist Linda Vallejo is giving art lovers a picture of what it means to be brown in America.
What are you telling us with this? That power comes in every color.
For Vallejo, brown isn't just a color, it's a way of life. The Chicana artist is embracing her culture through an exhibition called Brown Belongings.
The message that I'm trying to convey with Brown Belongings is, how do we begin a conversation, a meaningful conversation amongst us all races, all creeds, all colors, right? Everyone, about what it means to be brown in the United States today.
The exhibit is on display at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes in downtown LA. It includes brown replicas of famous paintings, as well as drawings fashioned from thousands of tiny brown dots.
I take data about Latinx culture, population, workforce data, health data, and I translate them into brown dots on architectural grid paper. So what you have is brown dots that actually represent a data set.
That data is collected from U.S. government statistics, and it offers insight on everything from where Latinos work to how they spend their money. This exhibition includes 125 different works. In fact, it's so expansive that they're holding it on 2 different floors. Let's go upstairs and take a look. Upstairs, there's a section on Hollywood and the industry's lack of inclusion.
And so it's really a statement about we belong to, and isn't that funny? Isn't that a great thing? I mean, I think Jennifer Lawrence is a Latina, is a pretty beautiful girl. You know, I think the Oscar is a very beautiful man as a brown man, which he was.
This is the first time La Plaza has hosted a solo show by a female artist. And while it's about Latinos, organizers say it isn't just for Latinos.
We're really hoping to capture a diverse, really multicultural audience. Linda's work speaks very directly to the Mexican or Latinx experience, and we're hoping that this show will open the eyes of all of the diverse population that lives in LA.
With immigration and race dominating headlines, Vallejo hopes Brown Belongings will bring a better understanding.
Brown Belongings is free and open to the public. The exhibition will run through January of next year. Councilmember Curran Price and the Los Angeles Department of Transportation's Vision Zero program hosted a South Los Angeles open house to celebrate active community engagement and how it benefits residents.
To share with the community the plans that we put together to try to change the character of the streets in this community to make them safer. and to hear their feedback, to really understand whether we're on the right track. We've already started to make some improvements to install high visibility crosswalks along streets through South LA, but based on what we hear tonight, then we'll develop the next plans for how we move ahead with these projects.
This is a real collaborative process, one that involves neighbors, involves kids, families. We want input from everybody. Everyone's got a role to play. I'm excited to be leading in a district that has this kind of involvement and engagement.
This African-American artist's career spanned the art world, the sports world, and the TV and film and music industry. Ernie Barnes, a retrospective, features the work of the late artist at USC's California African-American Museum. Anna Marcos takes a tour.
Enter the Ernie Barnes art exhibit, and you enter a world where the figures are often elongated, sometimes over-muscled or their body parts warped, and usually their eyes are closed. So why are the eyes closed?
Ernie Barnes believed that people are blind to each other's humanity, and he brought that out in his signature style of having the figures have their eyes closed. But perhaps even with our eyes open, we really aren't seeing and appreciating and understanding the people around us.
This tour of the exhibit, Ernie Barnes, a retrospective at USC's California African American Museum, brought out plenty of visitors. Each wanted to look at the work of an artist whose career spanned not just the art world, but the entertainment industry and sports. He was a professional football player with the NFL, and he was the official artist for the 1984 LA Olympics.
More often than not, you don't really get to see images or representation of other things that African Americans have been able to contribute. So to have this for the youth to be able to come and see, anybody that's growing up in this surrounding area could be inspiring.
He just flows right into all of that muralistic kind of painting that I love. A lot of soul and a lot of heart and it's not so stiff and abstract. It's human.
I think it's a source of pride. They see images that they can relate to. Most African Americans or other people of color, is the right word, they go to historical museums in a city, they don't see themselves on the walls.
Among Barnes' most well-known works is The Sugar Shack, which appeared on several episodes of the TV sitcom Good Times and on one of Marvin Gaye's album covers. His work was also sought after by other musicians, artists, and shows.
Ernie Barnes snuck into a juke joint. He saw people dancing. He saw a woman who was somewhat voluptuous. It stuck with him the rest of his life. A lot of us can relate to that. Okay.
Yup, it fueled plenty of amorous, artistic interludes.
Her arms, we can see how developed her muscle tone is. There's a feeling, there's a passion that he's able to bring out visually.
Barnes was born in North Carolina in 1938, at a time when there were no selfies, but there were self-portraits. The exhibit also showcases his paints, brushes, and the chair he often used, complete with paint stains.
He has movement and so much emotion in each character. And each painting is almost, it's like a little movie in itself.
Long muscles, strange bodies, and eyes wide shut were never this fun, this artistic, or this human. The show continues through the fall.
And the exhibit, like all exhibits at the California African American Museum, is free. It was an epic journey as hundreds of bicyclists rode 545 miles from San Francisco to Los Angeles to raise funds for AIDS research and improve the quality of life for people living with the disease.
We're here at the Finish Line Festival for AIDS Life Cycle, a 545-mile bike ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles.
It was 7 days of extreme weather conditions, but my heart never wavered. I rode every single mile.
I'm going to take a shower, I'm going to eat, and I'm going to sleep in my bed.
This is my 26th time doing this ride.
Congratulations! Another year! Another year!
You guys did it!
It's important for us to be here today because AIDS is not over, and this ride provides the resources that we need. This year, we raised a record amount of money, $16.7 million. The history of the ride has raised over $263 million.
It's a way to raise funds so they can take the proper care and medications that they need to survive. All the negativity that sometimes surround a disease like this is about to end. We're riding 7 days to finish that.
Well, thank you so much. It's been great. Do this ride before you die so others can live.
It's a magical experience, and if you want to join us next year, check out AIDSLifecycle.org, and you can join us at the 2020 ride next year.
The ride has been happening for 26 years. This year alone, AIDS Life Cycle has raised more than $16 million. A city council member stands up for the release of a killer whale held in captivity. The mayor cracks down on illegal dumping, and a proposal is introduced that would ban parked vehicle idling. All this in City Beat. The House of Tears carvers of the Lumi Nation were special guests at a city council presentation hosted by Councilmember Paul Koretz. They've been traveling with a 3,000-pound killer whale totem pole to raise awareness about the predicament of Tokitai, a killer whale being held in captivity.
Tokitai the orca, along with about a third of the orca population, was taken from Puget Sound and sent to theme parks all over the world in the 60s and 70s.
Our responsibility to come here to speak for those who can't speak for themselves.
The city is working on cleaning up the streets as Mayor Eric Garcetti announced a trash crackdown on illegal dumping by businesses. The announcement follows Councilmember Jose Huizar's motion to call for additional resources to address illegal dumping in downtown. In his goal to combat climate change and pollution, Councilmember Paul Koretz has introduced an ordinance that bans parked vehicle idling. This ordinance comes on the heels of LA's failing grade in the State of the Air report conducted by the American Lung Association. Admit it, nothing can put a smile on your face better than a fresh, delicious donut. In fact, this treat is so loved that a whole day was dedicated to it. The folks came out in droves to taste every flavor.
I am here for my stomach because it rules my life.
Anything for donuts. This is the second annual Downtown LA Donut Festival. It is an edible exploration of LA's favorite pastry.
I think it's really fun because I feel like more families will be able to come together and just have fun in the end instead of just being at a plain old boring donut shop.
Instead of just going to get one kind of donut, you get to try 13 different kinds of donuts from vendors all over Los Angeles.
I'm curious to see and taste the variety of donuts that they have.
I'm a huge connoisseur on donuts. I've had everything from a Kroger donut to a Voodoo donut to a Wenchell's donut.
There's also lots of activities.
I think you've got a really great balance of calorie consumption and calorie expenditure.
We had a donut break during our class.
Yeah, you can reach for the donut.
Yeah.
You know, it all works out.
We're serious about our yoga, and yet we don't take it too seriously.
Get your kids ready for swim season with free swim lessons. Bring home a new furry friend and come out for the Valley's biggest Pride event. All this in Things to Do. Mayor Eric Garcetti invites you to the second season of Swim LA, a program that provides Angelenos children between the ages of 4 and 17 with opportunities to learn to swim. Families can participate at over 51 city pools, with 35 pools offering lessons for free. Give kids access to a life-saving skill that keeps them fit and strong. Enrollment to Swim LA is open now. For more info, visit swimla.org. LA Animal Services is proud to present Chipitty Kitty, a pet adoption event meant to call attention to the high volume of Chihuahuas, Pit Bull Terriers, and cats in their centers. During this event, discounted adoption fees are available for these specific breeds at each of the 6 centers. So drop by the Chipitty Kitty adoption event taking place June 22nd and 23rd at all 6 LA City Animal Services centers. For details, visit laanimalservices.com. San Fernando sets rainbow flags aloft for its 5th annual Valley Pride event. Enjoy fabulous food trucks, dance the night away, and show your love for your fellow Valley girls and guys. Bring the entire family for a celebration of inclusion, diversity, and all things LGBT. It's Love for One, Love for All at Valley Pride 2019. Happening June 22nd from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Van Nuys Civic Center. For details, visit valleypride2019.com. And that's a look at some things to do. That's it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay. From all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more of LA This Week.
Hey, buddy! Don't you know you should never leave a cooking pan unattended? And a working smoke detector can warn you of a fire. Like the one behind me. My hero!
Next time, listen to the ball. Have a smoke detector and a fire extinguisher that work.
How'd you know?
The ball called.
Good morning, good morning. If everybody would please take a seat. Shh. Everybody, please take a seat. Today's Wednesday, June 19th. I want to welcome you to City Hall, welcome you to this Los Angeles City Council meeting. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. The public is welcome. Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum. Would you please call a roll?
Blumenfeld, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Harris Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Smith, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Cedillo moves, Bonin seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Martinez moves, Smith seconds. Next.
Mr. President, there is a request to continue item 6 for 2 weeks to July 3rd.
Okay, so ordered. Continue.
Items 1 through 5 are items noticed for public hearing.
Do you have cards?
Yes, there are cards on all items.
Okay, continue, please.
Items 7 through 17 are items for which public hearings have been held. Committee reports for items 8, 16, and 17 have been posted and circulated for council's consideration.
Okay, Mr. Buscaino.
Item 8, please. We can hold on desk.
Let's hold item 8, and let's prepare to vote on the remaining items.
Excuse me, Mr. President?
It was 8 and 9?
For Bob.
Okay.
And I believe also item 10 for an amending motion.
Okay, we'll hold those items and vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, could you go move to the next section?
Yes, and for the record, that would be 11 ayes. And there is a request to send item 17 forthwith.
And add item 15 as well.
For forthwith.
Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
And Mr. President, that takes council to the items scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold those on the desk?
Let me defer to the city attorney so we can handle these in open session, or why don't we just Okay, so let's handle them in open session. Would you like to read those?
Yes, Mr. President. And if we could take items 18 through 23 first for the first vote, and 18 in the case entitled Gabriel Villanueva Vasquez et al. Versus the Richard Lee Sullivan et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $1.9 million in settlement. For item 19 in the case entitled Dennis Garrels versus the City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend up to $1.5 million in settlement. For item 20 in the case entitled Valerie Jimenez versus the City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $250,000 in settlement. For item 21 in the case entitled Uni Gonzalez versus the City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend up to $300,000 in settlement. For item 22, in the case entitled Walter Williams versus the City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend up to $445,195 plus applicable post-judgment interest for attorney's fees and $40,897.90 plus applicable post-judgment interest for costs and judgment of the matter. And finally, for item 23, in the case entitled Maria Gonzalez versus the City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend up to $150,000 in settlement.
Okay, why don't we deal with those items? That's what, 18 through 23?
Correct.
Okay, 18 through 23. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Now, if we could, you want to deal with item 24 separately?
Yes, and for item 24, in the case entitled Charmaine Chua et al. Versus the City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to approve the city attorney's recommendations in the matter.
Okay, so let's vote on this item, on item 24. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Continue.
And then for items 25 through 30, I believe there's a request to take 28 special.
28 special? Okay, we'll do that.
So for 25, in the case entitled Farmers Insurance Exchange versus the City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend up to $250,000 in settlement. For item 26, in the case entitled Robin Tedder versus the City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to reject the plaintiff's offer of settlement. For item 27, in the case entitled AIG Property Casualty Company versus the City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend up to $250,000 in settlement. For item 29, in the case entitled Jermont Givens versus the City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to reject the plaintiff's offer of settlement. And for item 30, in the case entitled Mark Willits et al. Versus the City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend up to $104,000.73 in settlement.
Okay, let's deal with those items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, you want to do number 28 now?
Yes, on item 28, in the case entitled Andre Ramirez versus the City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $300,000 in settlement.
Okay, you ready on this one, Mr. Smith? Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes, 1 no.
Okay, that brings us where?
And Mr. President, there is a request to send all those closed session items forthwith. That's items 18 through 30.
Okay, so ordered. That brings us where?
And Mr. President, that then takes council back to presentations, items called special or general public comment.
Okay, I'll ask if Ms. Martinez.
Open house, right? It's open house. The service providers had their own tables.
Okay, thank you, members. Thank you, Madam President. I have a very special and personal presentation today. If I can get the crew to come on in here. In particular, I want to make sure that I have my dear friend and District Director, Sylvia Lacey. Sylvia Lacey standing with me, and her firstborn, Tyree Lacey, standing with me. Where's Mustard? Here you come.
Behind you.
Members, this is a special day for my office and very personal to us. You hear a lot of talk throughout this country about getting younger people involved in not just government, but involved in their community as well. And the young man that I'm going to introduce to you in the next couple of minutes has definitely led the way of involvement, and I hope that he will be an inspiration to others. A lot of times in the communities that some of us represent, like Mr. Harris Dawson, Mr. Weezer, Mr. Price, and Ms. Martinez, when you turn on the news, you hear a lot of negative things. You hear a lot of things that are not flattering. Today, we want to just take advantage of some of the things that we're really, really proud of. Today, we honor a young man that was born and raised in the 10th District, not too far from where I live now, not too far from Washington Boulevard and Crenshaw. A young man who had a natural talent, a young man whose name was Dijon. Dijon somehow got connected with Sylvia Lacey's family. Miss Lacey is behind me. Where are you, Lacey? Waves right to my left. and her oldest son, Tyree. Where are you, Tyree? And Tyree is one of the successful DJs in the community. And Miss Lacey is like the mother of all or any in need. And they met this young man named Dijon, and he had a knack and an ear for music and working with Tyree, who he refers to as his uncle. This young boy from the 10th District has grown and matured to be one of the hottest producers in music today. Since about 2011, he has had at least one track go platinum since 2011. If you take now, you know, we had a deal where we were supposed to point and the photo was supposed to go up, but the photo went up prematurely. Let's throw the photo back. This is, and if you can see, it is in front of my district office in the parking lot where he's DJing for our annual employee appreciation luncheon. So from the back parking lot of the 10th District office, he is Grammy-nominated, Grammy-winning producer. The name Dijon kind of slid into a nickname, and he was called DJ Mustard. They only call him Mustard now. He's so successful that they eliminated the DJ part. And that would be enough in itself just to honor a guy who grew up on the rough and tumble streets and made it to this level. But no, this young man is one that believes that in our community it's not always easy. In our community, you need to help. In our community, as you step up the ladder of success, you need to stop, turn around, and pull somebody else up with you. During my movies in the parks, he was, with not me asking, volunteered to give out backpacks loaded with school supplies. He's involved in holiday toy extravaganzas, giving gifts to underprivileged kids in the neighborhood where he grew up. He works with the Methodist community at one of the churches to feed people for Thanksgiving. These are the types of young people that are produced in the community that I represent, in the community where so many of us have grown up. We wanted to do something special for him in hopes to inspire other young, successful people to do things similar. So on this day, I would like for you to give a round of applause because we declare this day DJ Mustard Day. And I want to bring up just a couple of speakers so that they can tell you in their own way the assistance that he's given them, the partnership with the Boys and Girls Clubs, and all of these phenomenal things. These are the types of stories that I want people to hear. These are the types of stories that you want people to see. So if I can get Lyons from the Boys and Girls Club, where? I bumped into him earlier. Here, come on up. Let's give him a round, Brother Lyons, a round of applause.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to the council for the chance to share a few words. Again, I'm Calvin Lyons. I'm the president and CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Los Angeles. I'm here to join everyone in congratulating Mustard as the city of LA celebrates him for his past community work and accomplishments, as well as the wonderful things he's prepared to do for our youth in our community. I am also announcing that he will be named an official ambassador of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro LA. Our organization increases club efficiencies, reduces the duplication of operations, and strengthens services to the neediest LA neighborhoods. Our collective approach helps to achieve more consistent delivery of programs and impactful outcomes for youth. As an ambassador, Mustard will focus his efforts on fitness, STEM, STEAM, and workforce development opportunities for thousands of youth for club sites across LA, including the legendary Challengers Club, our Watts Willowbrook Club, our clubs in public housing at Jordan Downs and Nickerson, along with the Bell Gardens Club and as far west as Venice. We look forward to your personal support and advocacy. Thank you, Mustard, for supporting the development of our future generation of leaders. Again, congratulations on your day. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr.
I'd like to bring up one of Mustard's partners, Miko. Where are you, Miko? Please come on up, say a few words.
Thank you. I just want to say a couple of words. Working with Mustard for about 5 years now, being close with the family, he's somebody I consider to be one of my best friends, if not a brother. The advocacy, the things he does for the community that he came up in is something to be admired. He always takes time to give back to the kids. He makes sure that he's leading by example. He's not really one for getting on the microphone, which is why he's so comfortable behind the music and making sure that he puts other people up there. That's why I'm so happy that today he's being recognized for all the hard work that he does and leading by example. He's a light to the kids in the community that he came up in, showing them what they can do if they stick to their dreams and they work hard to get them. And I'm very, very proud of you. I'm very thankful that everybody's honoring him today. It couldn't happen to a better person.
And members, you have to remember what I said earlier before they flashed the photograph, which I think is in 2008. One track going platinum since 2011. That is an unbelievably successful producer. I'd now like to bring up his uncle of choice, an individual who is an unbelievable DJ in his own right, DJ T, who is the son of the greatest district director in the city of Los Angeles, Sylvia Lacey. So let me bring up Tyree. Come on, let's give Tyree a round of applause. Where are you, Tyree? Plus, I was getting ready to say, no, I'm not going to say it. The guy's a heck of a chef. He can cook some bread, and boy, you give him a ribeye, and he can work wonders with it. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyree.
First of all, thank Council President Herb for acknowledging a young man who's been with our family and myself. He was 13. He said he wanted to be a DJ like me. I said, no, you're going to be better than me. And from that day, his hard work and dedication has done unbelievable things that I can't even imagine. We always look at each other and I look and watch him in Vegas. He has a residency there now, and that's, top of food chain. He's at Marquee in Vegas, and we look at each other and say, all we wanted to do was clubs and just continue to move forward as a unit. And I can't say enough. I tell him all the time, I love you, I'm proud of you. We didn't imagine it was gonna be like this, but at the end of the day, I knew what he had, and he has that knack of being a DJ, understanding people. I told him this business is 60% business, 40% skills. So it's how you take care of business is how far you're gonna be able to go. And look what he's done with himself. I let him take his lead when he needs any advice, any guidance, any leadership. That's what I'm here for. And I'm just extremely proud of him, and thank you guys for acknowledging a young man. He's been working with community. I mean, we had no choice. My mom here made sure we DJ'd everything. So it wasn't a choice. But me being a son of a dedicated community activist, such as my mom, who's just I mean, I remember 6 years old when you can ride in the back of a pickup truck. We were out putting up yard signs for elections. So I had a good understanding of being involved in community and understanding how it all functions. So that only tells you why Mustard is, you know, understanding that this is something that's tremendous. So once again, thank everybody for acknowledging myself, Mustard. Thank you, Herb. And Mustard, you deserve this and more. It's just the beginning.
A lot of times I have events and people come to the events and they say, man, you had these good high-powered DJs. That's because we don't have to pay for them. Miss Lacey forces them to work for us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to present to you Dorsey High School's own DJ Mustard, or let's just call him Mustard. Let's give him a round of applause.
Mr. Weston, we've got members on the queue.
We're going to take pictures in the back.
Come right here.
No, they can't see me. It's all right.
Come on.
I'm here.
We're going to take some more photos in the back. There's some members that want to say something.
Okay.
We'll take...
Mr. Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. And everybody, you've really got to give a big round of applause to our council president for bringing such an amazing presentation today. Mustard, I think you've made Herb Weston the coolest council member, elected official anywhere in Southern California. So a big round of applause for him. It's very important for us to highlight the culture and to talk about the role that culture plays in making Los Angeles the city that it is, making it a focal point for the world, making it a place where people from all over the world want to be, want to associate with. And I thank you especially for being, Mustard, a centerpiece in what I think is a renaissance of culture and African-American art in the country, but it really is headquartered here in Los Angeles, and it's largely because of your work with more artists than I can name. There's just a long list of folks that you've brought to the world and presented to the world, and the world has embraced them and made them famous. And so we really appreciate how you all work together, the role that you play. For me, it's exciting to see you, because I'm old enough to remember when Dr. Dre was just a young DJ and was DJing at parties and made the transition to being a producer. And you're on the same trajectory, except you're going way faster than he went. And so we expect huge, huge things in your career going forward. And lastly, I know it's been a tough 6 months. This 2019, we stood at that very desk and did a adjourning motion for your friend and partner, Nipsey Hussle. We'll do another, sadly, adjourning motion for DJ Official next week. And so I thank you for being one of the people that has held the community together and been a voice of sanity and a voice of reason during a very, very tough time. The city can never, ever repay you for the difference that you've made during that time period. And I, for one, wanted to be one to stand here and recognize you for that as well.
Back to you, Mr. Weston.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mustard.
Well. I didn't plan no speech. I figured I'd talk from the top of my head. I want to thank God because I would have never, ever imagined me having a day in the city that I was born and raised in. Like I said, we didn't have no choice to do this, the city, everything. Herb has been there for forever. I want to thank my uncle because I don't want to be crying like no punk.
It's all right. It's all right.
No,
good.
Just shows what a magnificent person you are.
He took me in when my dad got deported. He stood there before anybody. I don't know why he did that. He didn't have to, and I definitely was a knucklehead, so I don't know where or why he put up with me. He seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. My fiance for just staying there the long nights and me being in the studio, and Grandma Lacey and my mom for letting me just DJ all night long and just make so much loud noise and come in, and me and my cousins fighting and, you know, all of that type of stuff. I'm just super, super grateful and happy that I can even be named or have a day in this city, because everything I do is for this city. Miko, of course, he's day in, day out. I'm talking about yelling back and forth with him. This is crazy. I don't know how he sticks in here. Ella for taking a chance on me and letting me, like, follow my dreams with her. My kids for pushing me, like, super, I don't know. I kind of lost for words to know what to even say, and I didn't plan on coming up here crying to y'all and stuff like that, but I marked the spot, keeping me focused and DJing, and, you know, all of my friends and everybody that just with me day in, day out. I just appreciate it. I thank every one of you guys for considering me. Boys and Girls Club, I definitely want to just, you know, do the right thing for the kids, because I have 3 of my own, and I plan on giving them the world and showing everybody else how to give them the world as well. And I just want to say thank you.
I want to thank Mustard so very much. And like I said, this is like family to all of us. We have the opportunity to watch him grow and to watch him mature and watch him become successful. This is who we are. We are not criminals. We are not thugs. You don't have to be afraid of us. We are salt of the earth. We are good people. We get stuff done. We love each other, and we take care of each other. This is for our side of town. This is for everybody who grew up in a tough neighborhood and had to survive. Today is DJ Mustard Day. Let's go in the back.
Wait, let mommy through with the baby so she don't trip. Everybody else can trip, not her.
Madam Clerk, why don't we go ahead and take up item number 8? Mr. Buscaino?
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, this item before you was a recommendation from the Trade, Travel, and Tourism Committee on supporting the reappointment of Diane Middleton to the Board of Harbor Commissioners. Now, this term fulfills the term ending in June 30th for our beloved Dave Arian, who, as we know, we lost a treasure in the city of Los Angeles, and in Dave's memory and honor, this appointment, I believe, is very appropriate, and we support Mayor Garcetti's reappointment of Diane Middleton. She's here before us to speak on why she wants to continue service. I know this is not your first rodeo, as I mentioned to you. She's served the city in previous commissions under other administrations and mayors, but clearly she has been, in your years in San Pedro, has been the voice of working people in the harbor area and beyond. So, Commissioner Middleton, tell us how it's been the last few months, and what have you experienced, and where do you plan on going in leading the Port of Los Angeles to continue to be the #1 port as it relates to being a good corporate partner and citizen to our harbor community, as well as being the #1 seaport and goods movement throughout the country.
Thank you, Councilman Boscaina. Good morning, members of the council. First of all, thanks to Mayor Garcetti for my reappointment. I have only served since March 7th, and it's been a very, very challenging time to be a harbor commissioner, because an issue unlike any others hit us, something that hadn't happened in 50 years. Thousands of ILWU members and members of the community were mobilized because there is an issue that's before us on the question of automation and fully automating the largest port in the United States. It would be inappropriate for me to comment on that today, so I'd like to, instead of talking about what's happening at the port, just tell you that this is an exciting time for our city, because we really have the opportunity at the port to take leadership on this question of the future of work in America and what's going to happen. We've moved from an era of mechanization or labor-saving devices to artificial intelligence and labor-eliminating devices. And it's not just going to affect the port, it's going to affect people everywhere. And has often been said in the last 3 months, robots don't buy houses, they don't buy cars, and they don't vote. So we believe what is at stake is nothing less than the future of the middle class in America, but we have a chance here in Los Angeles to show real leadership. I very much want to acknowledge the tremendous support from the staff at the Port of LA. I've only been on board for 3 months. They have been very kind in terms of orientation. There's a lot to learn about the biggest port in America. Our executive director, Gene Soroka, made a commitment that he wants to work with us to develop a commission or some kind of body, a committee, that could talk about work in America and the future of work. So we hope we'll be coming back to you with news about that. Other than that, it's an exciting time to be at the port. And once again, thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Thank you, Commissioner. I know in talking of America's Port Director, Gene Soroka, he's really focused on the business, community, and environment. I know you just focused your comments on the future of work as it relates to business and goods movement and how that's being threatened today. But on the community side and also the environment side of the port moving forward, I know your thoughts on how you embrace and you support the movement of the future development of the port as it relates to retail, dining, and entertainment along the waterfronts.
Thank you, Councilman. I didn't want to take too much time, but those are 2 other really exciting areas. One on the question of the environment. The port is at the forefront of trying to figure out how to not only move more cargo than anyone, but do it in a way that has the least disadvantages to the members of our community. Wilmington, as you may know, has more childhood asthma than any place in the city, and it's because of the activities of the port. We're doing our best to clean that up, and there are a number of measures, very specific measures, that have been implemented, and we want to do a lot more. We've tremendously reduced toxic emissions in the last period of time, and we want to do even better. On the community side, as you know, Councilman Boscaino, you have been very enthusiastic in your support of the San Pedro Public Market. We can't wait for that to come to fruition. The old ports of call is no more. There's going to be something new replacing it, and you're all going to love to come to see the town that we're so proud of. There's also developments on Wilmington's waterfront, because for too long, Wilmington played a secondary role and didn't get the resources San Pedro did. Under the leadership of Mr. Soroka, past members of the commission, we're trying to turn that around. All of this comes down to a real simple concept that I'm a firm believer in, and it's why I want to continue to serve in what informs everything I do, and that is that there should be a social compact between the port. That yes, the port is in business to make money and to move cargo, But we want some of that money to come back to the community and to stay in the community. And that's our public access investment program, which has committed a set amount of funds over the next period of time, a set percentage of the budget, and it's a considerable amount of money to community projects. What all of this has done is energize our community. I know we all agree here. We can't do enough to get all the people involved in what's going on. Council President Wesson's presentation on what's happening in his district and how important it is for people to be active, that's what's happening in San Pedro and Wilmington. The good news about this automation development is that it has brought out thousands of people to our commission meetings. When's the last time you heard of 2,000 people coming to a commission meeting to make their voices known? And we want to be sure that we hear them and we do something about it. And we're hoping for a partnership with Councilman Buscaino in moving all these issues forward: clean environment, community activities, and mostly keeping us as the best port in America. Thank you, Councilman.
Clearly, colleagues, Commissioner Middleton has the skills, the knowledge, the ability to move our port forward. I do want to thank Mayor Garcetti. And he did not have to do this. He has 3 residents of the San Pedro Wilmington community that's being represented on the commission. So I want to recognize our mayor and thank him for this recommendation, this reappointment, and I ask for an aye vote. Thank you for your commitment to serve our city and our port. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you very much, and thank you for serving. Let's go ahead and open up the roll on this item. Mr. Cedillo, you didn't press your button, sir, but go ahead.
Yes, I'd be interested to hear your comments on tariffs and these trade wars that are being initiated by the president, the impact on the harbor, and what it means for our economy.
Thank you, Councilman Cedillo. Obviously, an issue of tremendous concern. We passed our budget just a couple of weeks ago, and I asked Executive Director Soroka, what's tariffs going to have? What impact is it going to have? And it's offset in the investment community, and Executive Director Soroka said it's also true of the cargo movement community. The worst thing you can have is uncertainty. And there's nothing but uncertainty and chaos because we don't know what our tariff policies are. So the question of tariffs is extraordinarily important, and particularly with our neighbor to the south,
yes,
who is our closest trading partner. And this is all, I mean, we haven't seen the effect yet, because what's happened is because tariffs have been on the agenda, shippers started stockpiling goods, and there actually was a spike in business. But that cannot continue.
It's false.
I mean, this is going to have a considerable effect. It's not my job to give anybody an economic lessons, but I think everybody here understands China doesn't pay the tariff. Mexico doesn't pay the tariff. It is not money that accrues to the United States. It's money paid by the taxpayers. It's money paid by our citizens. So there's a lot of confusion at the highest level, and all we can say is we are trying to do the best we can in an era of tremendous uncertainty. Now, having said that, our Chief Financial Officer, Marla Blevins, was very clear about the fact. I tend to ask direct questions, and my question was, how big a hit can the port take? What's going to happen? So we had a discussion about our financial reserves and how long we will be able to continue to operate. And it was it's a good picture. I mean, we have had great financial planning the last number of years since Mr. Soroka came on. He's turned around the financial situation of the port. There are reserves, but of course it is something of great concern, mainly because we don't know what it is. And how can you run a business like that? And the port is a business. Most people don't understand we're a landlord port. And basically what we do is lease space. And you can't lease space to people who don't know where their business is going.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and vote on this item, members. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Commissioner.
Thank you, council members.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we're going to move on to item number 9. Mr. Blumenfield, would you like to open this item up for us, please? And then I'm going to go ahead and call members of the public who've signed up to speak on this item. Go ahead.
Great. Thank you, Madam President. And I know we have a number of folks from the public here from my district here, and I want them to know whether they're for this or against this, I appreciate the fact that they have made the effort to come here. It takes an hour and a half to get here from parts of my district, and so when people are here, it's because they're extremely passionate about something. The motion before you will allow the city to move forward on determining the feasibility of developing affordable housing on public parking lots in Reseda with replacement parking nearby. Now, this has been the subject of a lot of controversy in my district. The Reseda Neighborhood Council, the Plum meeting that we had on this, it was their largest turnout ever, they told me. I sat there at that meeting for 3.5 hours while folks were expressing their concern in a variety of ways. People were not happy about the fact that we are trying to look at affordable housing options and specifically looking at the parking lots in the area. And I understand that. And by the way, I put this motion out before the homeless count numbers came out recently. The count numbers only confirm that we as a city need to analyze all of our properties. And why are we looking at our properties? A couple of years ago, this council and the mayor asked the CAO to look at all of our properties, all surplus properties. And I know a lot of you, my colleagues, have been doing the same thing. In my area, in the West Valley, there is very little public properties. There's no surplus properties. And so the CAO identified our parking lots. And I wanted to look at all viable parking lots in my district. So to look at viability, you have to look at not just the fact that it exists, the fact that it's used, but you also have to look at the size and whether there are nearby lots that could help with replacement parking. And given the screens that CAO gave us on that, the ones that qualified were the 5 lots in Reseda, in part because of the size and in part because of the proximity to each other. Now, I am looking all over my district for things to do to help with our homeless crisis. In Canoga Park, we are building, and we have got it going now, a bridge home site that will hold up to 100 folks right off the street, and those are folks that are going into bridge housing who are in desperate need. In Tarzana, we're working on a treatment center project with the Tarzana Treatment Center and the Providence Hospital, where we have put patient navigators into the hospital that are affiliated with the hospital and the treatment center to deal with the most difficult folks, service-resistant, drug-addicted, and mentally ill folks. And that's at the Tarzana, at the hospital, and then putting them into group housing options where they get treatment for their physical and their mental issue. Also in Tarzana, we opened up a site for RVs to be able to dump their waste for free so that would become less of an issue in terms of some of our homeless areas. In Woodland Hills, we work very closely with the Prince of Peace Church on their expansion and on the homeless feedings that they do, where they are literally feeding thousands of people or providing thousands of meals each month. And also in Woodland Hills in the Warner Center area, I've put forward what's a very controversial but inclusionary housing requirement where we're trying to get all the Warner Center to be subject to inclusionary housing, meaning that you have to build affordable housing units with every new project. And that's important because that's where most of the growth is happening, and we want to make sure that we have affordable housing there. And in Winnetka, we have the smallest part of my district, we have permanent supportive housing already up, and we're working to do even more. So all across the district, we are doing things. Usually when you hear me talk about Reseda, because I talk a lot about Reseda, it's all of the investments we're making, whether it's the hockey rink or it's the Lemley Theater or the Great Streets. I am really committed to revitalizing Reseda. But it would be irresponsible not to look at these parking lots. The parking lots are used. Make no mistake about it, I'm under no delusion that these are excess property that nobody uses, which is why the motion that I have requires replacement parking so that parking would not be lost, because that is an issue that people are legitimately concerned about. And I know people are concerned about businesses, and I am very sympathetic to that. It's one of the reasons why in this motion, or I have insisted and worked with the CAO that the feasibility study include an economic analysis, an third-party independent economic analysis where we look at the impact of whatever projects are being proposed on the immediate businesses. Because I understand, particularly on the Baird lot, you have businesses that open up into this parking lot that are very concerned about their future. And I want to make sure that whatever we ultimately come up with, on whichever lot it is, that we are very sensitive to the business interests that are there, because these are mom and pop businesses that rely on the parking in the area. All of those are complications, but they are not reasons to not move forward with a feasibility study that will look at what is feasible, what is not, that will look not only on the building but on the economic impacts. This is the first step in a longer process. There will be future community outreach and engagement. It is something I'm very committed to. This is early in the process, and yet I've had meetings with the business owners, some of whom are here at the property. We've had neighborhood council meetings, and I expect continued meetings as we move forward and as we actually get something that's a project. Again, we're looking at a feasibility. It's amazing that just a feasibility study can cause this much controversy and uproar in a community. But I'm committed, as all of you are, to dealing with our homeless crisis. And part of this, and whatever is built on one of these lots, is not going to solve our homeless crisis. It is going to be just another drop in the bucket. But we can't fill that bucket up unless we try to find every drop that we can. And so I'm committed to doing something, if it is feasible, on one of these lots. So there's an amendment that's been circulated which makes it very clear that we're looking at all 5 of those lots. Because at first, when we did the CAO screen, they pointed us to just the Baird lot, which is the largest because it has the 2. And the community said, no, we really need to look at all viable lots. And I took that to heart, and I think that it makes a lot of sense to do that, and this amendment opens that up to the other viable lots. So, colleagues, I know we have public comment, and I welcome that, but I would urge your aye vote on this feasibility study. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blumenfield. And so there is an amending motion that's been circulated. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
That is correct.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and, if I call your name, can you please come up to the podium? You're speaking on item number 9. Corinne Ho, are you here? Patrick Costa? Diane Taylor? Pedro Manrique? And Julija Sabi? Okay, welcome. You've got 1 minute each to speak on item number 9.
Madam President, good morning. Nice to see you again. Mr. Smith, council members, good morning. My name is Corinne Ho. I am a constituent of Council District 3, and I am here also to represent the Everyone In campaign. Of course, the Everyone In campaign is seeking to build coalition to support and advocate for for the construction of supportive housing. Thank you to Councilmember Bob Blumenfield for introducing this motion. It is a step in the right direction, and we need this motion to move forward. So I am here to support the proposed amendments to this motion, and I'm asking the City Council to please have an aye vote on this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Patrick Costa.
Can you speak a little louder or lower the microphone so we can hear you?
My name is Patrick Costa, and I own New Bangladesh Market. The reason I'm coming over here because I feel like I just said it. I come here about 30 years ago, and I'm very poor, and I hope to have something in this country, and I did make it myself. I work very hard, 6 days, 7 days a week, in order to have today. And I learned that you will take the parking lot away from our market. And how could I survive without the parking lot? You see, that's why I want you to know that. That's it, you know. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Diane Taylor. I own Traders Loan and Jewelry. My business has been there for 65 years. I'm a female-owned business. And the thought of having our parking taken away will be very difficult. We do not have the minimum parking requirements as we are grandfathered in, and even replacement parking is not an option for the length of time it would take to have, and going across the street, especially with the markets and everything that's in the back. We have over 30 businesses that will be affected, over 261 employees that would be out of jobs. We'd have a lot more homeless people. We serve over 1.19 million people a year in that area. It's a huge Vietnamese community as well as other ethnicities. And it is just very frightening to all of us that we could lose our income, and we serve the community. As a pawnbroker, I give money to the homeless. I help them between their checks. I do everything I can through our business to help as many people as we possibly can. We have signatures of over 2,000 people that are against this, and to pay for a motion that we really know what the impact's going to be is a waste of taxpayers' money. Thank you.
Good morning,
Your name,
everyone.
please.
My name is Pedro Manrique. I want to first acknowledge the humanity. Thank you for the elegant human touch in greeting us today, Councilmember Bloomfield. It's really nice for you to reach out and step out of the podium to reach us in the pew. So thank you. So first off, impacts on community risk, immigrant minority business district and owners are in fact impacts on community leaders. I'm talking on behalf of New Bangladesh Market. These immigrant minority business owners must be enlisted to help with solutions rather than having relatively ineffective initiatives thrust upon them. Very powerful examples include proactive property owners of New Bangladesh Market here with us today who physically offered 20 acres of their own land to help the homeless. And we know we've explored that, and thank you, Elizabeth, for going the distance to help flesh that out even further. Our homeless challenge is a complex problem and needs to be considered as a deliberate plan. So who will take responsibility if there's damage to these businesses? And that will also impact the minority community, a minority community that has asked for nothing and has thrived for decades. So I'll leave you with this. Let us stick the finish. Let us reach deep inside us, champion humanity, leave a lasting legacy behind that we all are loving. And thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Councilman.
Your name for the record, ma'am?
I'm the owner of the building in Reseda. I suffer.
What's your name, ma'am? Hold her time.
My name is Duria Sebe.
Thank you.
I suffer Parkinson's disease, so I cannot talk so clear. But I come here because I worry about the situation. I see homeless everywhere. I feel sad, ashamed, and I think we should do something about it. That's why I think we should talk to the congressmen and have them, instead of punish our hero, as our hero come out and helping the whole country. Contribute and like companies like Microsoft, Facebook, Google, ask them for contribution instead of try to punish them and say, and it's better to talk to the congressman to let this company make our country good to begin with. So ask them for help to donate the money to build shelter for homeless, please.
Thank you. Tina Lee, please come forward. Followed by Mutita Papakorn. Hong Tai, please come forward. Good morning and welcome. Tina?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you speak? Okay. Hi, my name is Tina Lee with Bangladesh Market, and I'm a stakeholder in Reseda. I am opposed to a feasibility study on our lot as it has consequences on our business that we built on an American dream. My father, who had escaped Vietnam with his wife and many small children for fear of retaliation from the Viet Cong for working with the Americans. They took our home because they can, because it was a lawless country. This proposed motion has broken our American dream as hard-working immigrants. We feel discriminated as we are predominantly Vietnamese immigrant with businesses built around this parking lot. This is an anti-ethnic job issue disguised as a homeless issue. Over 30 plus businesses and over 300 employees will in fact be homeless if this project passes. City actions have prevented our community from having a proper say in this matter and have prevented our neighborhood council from building and submitting a community impact statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Mutita?
Yes, my name is Mutita Prupakon. As a taxpayer, and I see the situation that cannot be solved. Now you're going to build something in the parking lot, you already kill us because the parking lot is related to our business. No matter when you start it, it will take a year at least, and we cannot survive to pay the tax. Our future is depend on this situation. Now you didn't work with us. You didn't work for us. And you're going to make me one of the victims that become a homeless. So what you think the best solution? We even try to contribute the property that I have to exchange to help, but for sure we didn't get help from you. Did you consider to have somebody else to come and help?
Thank you.
We need everyone's hand.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's all I want to say.
Okay, Hong Thai.
My name is Hong Thai. I'm the part of owner in New Bangladesh Market in Reseda. And actually, I don't speak good English, but when I heard about the news say they will build the affordable housing in the parking lot in front of our market, I feel like everything will destroy. From my working hard, 35 years here, I have nothing left. That's what I only can say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lance Wang, Tai Tran, Antonio Ramirez. Please come forward. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, council members. My name is Lance Huang. My wife is the eye doctor in the Reseda Sherman White Plaza. She started as an employee of one herself, and today she provides healthcare services to the underserved and underprivileged community, primarily Medi-Cal patients, Hispanic and Vietnamese patients. They don't easily find services elsewhere that are willing to accept them, and if places that do accept them, they have to wait 1 or 2 months. Next door to us, Joey's Tacos. He's been around for about 1.5 years. Best Mexican food in the valley, but he has to work another job just to make ends meet. These are very typical profiles of the businesses, mom and pops that are in the plaza. We're not against the homeless. We're not against affordable housing. What we're concerned about is that some private developer is going to use affordable housing to come to our plaza and then eventually wipe out the existing mom and pop small businesses. And small businesses still provide half of our nation's jobs and half of our nation's economic output. And I think we deserve a chance to stick around. Thank you.
Thank you. Tai Tran. Last call. Antonio Ramirez. How about Adam Velasquez? Please come forward. And then followed by Wayne.
Thank you very much. I am homeless. I blame the unpatriotic, un-American, unethical, diabolical, evil, satanic, Masonic, elite, Zionist Jews, and elite non-Jews, political, pandering, corrupted motherfucking pussies and thieves. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I live downtown LA with niggers and gangbangers, and they are the worst to live with. I love the Asian people because they
Mr.
are
President,
good.
that is
They are
not-
polite and they are decent. Yeah,
Ms.
don't
Ramirez is
regulate
not
my
on the subject
speech.
matter.
Yeah,
Okay, that's your
don't
final
regulate
warning,
my
Antonia.
speech. Yeah.
Stick to the topic.
Yeah, I call it what it is. You don't know nothing about homeless, and you want to do something about homeless, and do something about it. But don't fucking throw me out because you don't have the balls to stand up to these motherfucking
Okay, you're
niggers
off
and
topic.
wetbacks and gangbangers. I call it like it is.
Sergeants,
I live
please
out here.
remove Antonia Ramirez. She's been warned. Thank you so much.
Try living with these motherfucking monsters.
Okay, time to go. You got to go. Have a blessed day. Yes, she's got to go. She's been warned, and she's got to go. She needs to be removed. Just to let you know, she, for the record, she continues to disrupt this meeting as she's on her way out. Thank you. Is there an Adam? The door is right there. Please see to the door. Thank you.
Mr. President, for the record, in case the mic hasn't caught it, Ms. Ramirez continues to shout and scream.
Please stop making that noise. You got to leave.
What did
Please.
she say?
Okay, is there an Adam Velasquez?
And Mr. Miller is continuing to shout and scream.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. How about Wayne? Wayne, you know the routine. Let's try not to get ejected. Speak to the item.
Fuck you. No.
Okay, that's your last warning. That's your last warning.
So, Joe Blob and Bleld, you're going to take away the parking lots. You ever been to Sherman Way in Reseda? You ever been to Canoga Park? No, you don't go where the colored folks are. You stay in Woodland Hills. You can't park. And you're going to attack the last small businesses we have left in the city of Reseda. Have you seen Traders? They have a bus stop there. Sherman Way and Reseda. Urine, filth, needles, feces, homeless. They try to break into that place. They have to put gates up. It's a fucking war zone. Deny this. Do not pass this. Leave these people alone. Fuck you.
Okay, Vicky Comer. Is there a Vicky? Please come forward. Dat Tran. And someone completed a card, CPP. Please come forward. Good morning.
Good morning. Shall I start? My name is Vicky Comer. David Rue is my home council person. In the 1960s, my parents built a two-story building on Sherman Way in Reseda and purchased parking spaces from the city in Lot 624 so they could open a business. All the other property owners around Lot 624 purchased parking spaces as well, and I have the paperwork. Without appropriate parking spaces dedicated to our building would not be given a certificate of occupancy by the city. Without convenient parking spaces available for our building, customers would go elsewhere. Without parking spaces and customers, our tenants would cancel his lease. 2 years of replacement parking somewhere else won't cut it. Without appropriate and convenient parking spaces, we wouldn't be able to release our building. We would be out of business. There would be unrecoverable damage, more vacancies in Reseda, and bankruptcies to current owners and tenants.
Thank you.
Thank
Is there a CPP here? Last call? CPP, no? Mr. Tran?
Hello,
Good
sir.
morning.
My name is Dashwag. I'm represent here for my family business, the restaurant. So our restaurant has been here for 32 years, and we collect the tax sale for the California like 130,000 a year. And now, if the city want to eliminate the parking lot, we have no parking lot for our customer. We serve like 1,000 customer a day. So if you take it, my business has to close for sure. So you use our money, the tax money, to build something to destroy our business. So you have to thinking back, and please, so don't pass the bill, please.
Thank you. Is there a Caleb Crowder? Please come forward, and followed our last speaker on this item is Arnold Sachs. Good morning.
Good morning to the council. My name is Caleb Crowder. I'm here with the Everyone In campaign, and I'm here to speak in support of the amended motion from Councilmember Blumenfield. As a community organizer, it's not lost on me how difficult this is when we go into communities. I mean, this is the first time in quite some time that we've put a really concerted effort behind trying to end this crisis across our city, so I understand where these folks are coming from, and I've met with a lot of them, and I understand their concerns. But what I've observed from the council member is a real true effort to work with these folks and to ensure that this process is one that will be beneficial for everyone involved, but also keeping in mind that we are in the midst of a crisis, and we do need to help the folks that are the most vulnerable among us, which is the folks that are homeless and living on our streets. So I have every bit of faith in the council member to do what's right in this situation, and I'd just like to once again voice my support for the amended motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Arnold Sachs, please come forward. Good morning.
Yes, thank you. For the record, Arnold Sachs.
Couple things. City-owned. This must be the effort by Mr. Blumenfield to put the 200 rooms in his district. It mentions here that neither the CAO or the CLA has completed our financial analysis of this report. It also mentions something about stakeholders. Stakeholders being not the public, but people who are going to come in and provide maybe bridge housing for 3 years. You hear people get up and crying about mom and pop businesses. And by the way, with the new ordinance that's coming in for the $1 pay raise, make your employees managers. They won't be affected. It's tough. 720, 722, and 730, Barrett Avenue. Why are these not continuous areas? Why are these discontinued parking lots? There's skipping and jumping. There's more. You need to do a complete financial analysis based on what these people are talking about and the loss to their income and include it in this report before you go any further.
Thank you. I'd like to now recognize Mr. Blumenfield to close out this item.
Great, thank you. Again, I appreciate all the comments that have been made by folks who've come out. This is brings out passion in folks. As I've mentioned to start, is there another public comment? No. Did we miss somebody?
Hold
before
on.
I close?
Your name, sir?
Enrique Velasquez.
Oh yes, I called you. I called you before.
I didn't hear.
You
my
okay
name.
with that?
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, let's give them a minute. They'll go ahead and speak on number.
Thank you so
item
much.
Number 9. Thank you.
I'm Enrique Velasquez, and I also work with the Everyone In campaign. And I am here to, on behalf of the Everyone In campaign, support the amended motion from Councilmember Blumenfield. We do appreciate, this initiative to deal with the folks experiencing homelessness in that part of San Fernando Valley. We need to keep in mind that there is a crisis. The numbers, the homeless folks recently went up, and there is not a good idea not to do something about, that reality. I feel folks, the business owners, but they need to understand that there is no project, that this is only in a study to be done. Maybe that parking lot will not be, the one that is more feasible to, to build the housing. But we also need to recognize that on Monday, the Reseda Neighborhood Council actually supported, the go ahead with the study. Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Velasquez. Thank you. Now, Mr. Blumenfield. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Yes, it's true that the Plum Committee was opposed to it, and then there was a very large discussion with Reseda Neighborhood Council. They said support if amended to include all viable lots. And as I mentioned, have added in all of the lots that we see as viable according to the CAO screen, so that we're looking at all of the lots in Reseda, not just the largest lot, which was the initial focus. And as was mentioned, this is about a feasibility study, which at my insistence, and normally feasibility studies don't necessarily look at the economic impacts to the local businesses. But I said that that's extremely important. I not only insisted on that, I came up with the funding to pay for that, so that we would have a third-party economic analysis to look at the impact on the businesses. Not something that happens automatically, not something that's normally part of a feasibility study, but something that I insisted on because I care about our local businesses, and I want to make sure that we have not only replacement parking, but whatever we look at, we do it in a way that is sensitive to the mom and pop shops that are there and the people's livelihoods that depend on it. But it would be irresponsible for me to just make that decision and say, well, these lots, because there are these businesses here, we can't look at this, can only look at this. No, we have to look at the lots that have all been deemed viable and give it that screen and then see what those options are and then sit down and have a real discussion about it. Nothing is being built tomorrow. This is a step to look at that feasibility. And when I talk about stakeholders being involved, especially in the economic analysis, I'm talking about the business owners. Yeah, there's stakeholders, people who are involved in building and not building, but make no mistake about it, my definition includes all of you who are here and who have businesses surrounding the Baird lot, and the other lots, for that matter. But it would be irresponsible not to move forward. As I mentioned in my opening, We are throwing everything we can in the kitchen sink to deal with homelessness throughout the city, but in my district. And I've insisted at every corner of my district be part of the solution. And this is an option that every one of my colleagues here is looking at the properties that have been identified in their districts, and I would be irresponsible not to look at the properties in my district. And that's why I asked for an aye vote, so we can move forward with this feasibility study. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blumenfield. So with that, appreciate your leadership, Bob, on this. Again, to those who have joined us, this is a commitment that this entire body has made moving forward on supportive housing throughout the city of Los Angeles. And again, as Mr. Blumenfield indicated, you're evaluating this property moving forward. I appreciate your leadership, Bob, on this. So with that, colleagues, let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, item 9 is approved as amended. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll take some multiple public comment here. Wayne, on the cards that you filled, 2 minutes on those specific agenda items, and then 1 minute general public comment.
And Mr. President, as the speaker makes his way forward, for the record, amending motion 10A has been posted and circulated for council's consideration.
Thank you. Okay, Wayne, so you got 1 through 5 and item number 10. 2 minutes.
Yes, speaking on motherfucking liens, now, what we got to remember is, in all these fucking liens, you don't have any certified mail, you don't get any warnings, you don't get any letters. What happens, and Greg Smith has educated me about this, is that the building inspector comes out to your home and they say, "Can I look in your backyard, please? I'm just here to see that your neighbor..."
Mr. Spiller, there are no liens on today's agenda.
But it was on the agenda, wasn't it?
Okay, last one.
No,
No
there
liens.
wasn't.
Okay.
Speak to the items.
Okay. So, well, there's no printed agendas in the back. Can Mr. Blumenfield give me an agenda? Yeah, he's back there busy getting paid up, but there's no printed agendas. There's no way to see what I was talking about. So the only thing I could do is mentally guess what's on the agenda. And that's what I tried to do, City Attorney. Was there REAP on there? Yes. Okay. So we're taking off people off REAP. REAP is rape. Yes, sir.
Okay, let's give him he's not following the rules. So let's give him his 1 minute general public comment. 1 minute. Thank you.
See, I try to do the best that I can as a black man living in this city, a black man living in his car. I'm mobile all the time. Today on 1st and Main, I see a truck with Nevada license plate with a black man in it. You know, the problem is he didn't have tinted windows, and he's apparently from the FBI office in Las Vegas, I hear. Thank you, Greg Smith. And Eduardo told him to get the fuck out of here. That's right. Because Eduardo says, "Hey, motherfucker, you ain't from Los Angeles. This is our house. This is my house. What we do here in L.A. is our business. It ain't the FBI's business." And I reminded him that he's brave. Fuck the FBI. Fuck the Department of Justice. Fuck the police.
Okay, Eric Previn, you're up. You're speaking on items 4 and 10. You'll be given 2 minutes, followed by 1 minute general public comment.
Thank you. It's Eric Previn from Studio City, and I'd just like to reference that feasibility is critical. And by doing a feasibility study, I think we've come to the conclusion that what's feasible for one community may not be feasible for another.
Mr. Previn, you're not speaking to one of the 2 items that you've placed.
4 and 10.
No.
4 and 10.
Last warning.
No, it's feasible to speak on the city attorney settlements, correct or no?
No, those
Not feasible.
items
Okay.
have already been voted on.
So 10, workforce development, is that fair? Yes.
Let me speak on number 10
Thank
and
you.
4.
Thank you. Now, I appreciate the way you guys amended that and said amended today in connection with a document that has, you know, what I would describe as about 100 different little changes. So it's very hard to process what those changes were. I will say that from my perspective, I was able to glean a little bit that $4 million is coming in from Measure H for workforce development, that about $4 million when you take it together with the county probation is coming in to workforce development. But my beef, if there is a beef, is $339,000 for a mobile pit stop. Now, this was billed as a workforce development. There's a group called Hunters Point Family from San Francisco. They've rebranded as something like Cypress something or other. Mr. Price probably knows. Now, they're down here, and the problem is that I believe that there's a little too much upstairs workforce development. We need the $16 an hour guys to be able, and gals, to be able to operate facilities in our neighborhoods. Now, I know Krikorian has been diligent trying to get the mayor and the Metro Board, including Mr. Butts, who drives around in a Lake Tahoe, some kind of a big fancy car, when everybody else is trying to stay green, and we're perniciously going after all of our residents. And Lord knows Koretz is doing what he can by preventing idling in the supermarket. We cannot have older people with pets sitting there in the air conditioning. It's not on Koretz's watch. So what I would ask, though...
Okay, give him his 1 minute, general public
Yeah, the general
comment.
public comment, I would just simply, to finish that thought, you know, I would ask that we get a real price and that we do competitive bidding. I think we've all stomached long enough the absence of competitive bidding. Now, Motorola was on Smith's agenda the other day. They're giving 50 or 100 walkie-talkies to the group out there, but they're not worth $50,000 because the folks told me that they're old product. Now, I don't know how CD12 has access to old product, but you know, those should be for the city and should be citywide. When you have committee meetings in this great hall or in this building, you should not schedule them all at the same time frame. When you have a 1 p.m. transportation, 1 p.m. Greg Smith, and 1 p.m. somebody else, it's physically impossible to be at all of those opportunities at the same time. So when you go from one to the other and they say, sorry, we closed it out on your foot, Mr. Previn, it's a great insult to Mr. Previn or any other member of the public. So that's why I would ask you to change that practice. And I know Buscaino has been a leader on bringing those things to the attention of the Rules Committee to avoid the unwanted blowback. Now, I don't blame you. I think that the best practice is to let people speak right here in this hall. Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, let's take item number 10 for a vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, we'll approve item 10 as amended. Thank you. Okay, we have, is there a Corey S, K-O-R-I-E? Please come forward. Okay, you pulled items 1 through 5, so you'll be give you 3 minutes for items 1 through 5.
Shouldn't take too long. I just want to express my dissent for those items.
Thank you. Would you like to take your general public comment now?
No, that's it.
Okay, you'll forfeit a general public comment. Thank you. Okay, Arnold Sachs, you are now up. Arnold Sachs, he's still here? Okay, you'll be given 2 minutes on items 1, 3, and 5, and then your 1 minute of general public comment.
So, let's see. Thank you, Arnold Sachs. For the record, by the way, that means it's read into the record that way, not like motions that are just passed around the horseshoe and not read into the record. They're not legal. That being said, some of these lighting districts are, these notices for public hearing, they're also noticed in Public Works, but they're not, nobody attends. So who sends out the notices for the lighting districts for the people to hear about how much they're going to be charged for street lights and maintenance? And I wish I had taken some time, but there's a lot of money involved in this stuff. You have no idea because you don't go to the hearings. You got to go to the hearings and find out maybe they're going to get low voltage lights. Maybe you're going to get low incandescent lights. Maybe you're going to get high incandescent lights. They do this work, but they don't tell you. It's a game that we play at City Council. It's called Who's the Horse's Ass, and it's mostly the public because they know the answers.
Stick to the items, Arnold.
Okay. Well, it is part of the item, sir. I appreciate your comment. By the way, if you have small contractors doing this business and you might be affected by the new wage increase, make your employees managers. If you're small contractors and you have less than 25, 30 people, if you make everybody a manager, they're not affected by the new wage increase because they're exempt employees. You don't have to lay anybody off. It's a game again. Pay attention, please. Or don't listen to the Jew. It's your choice. I don't care. I'm just trying to give you some free advice, save some people some houses. That being said,
Okay, give me just 1
public
minute.
comment. I missed Wednesday's meeting, unfortunately, or Monday's and Tuesday's meeting. I was at a wonderful board meeting at the Board of Supervisors. But there was a really important item about police training. A, get the goddamn police off the goddamn cell phones. There's too many knuckleheads running around. Every cop you see on down in the subways, almost 90% of them are on a phone. That's not going to do you any good if somebody walks up and puts a bullet in your head. Sorry, wrong number. Boom! Get them trained to put their phones away and pay attention to what they're supposed to be doing. Again, back to the housing. The wages are going to go up, but if you're getting vouchers, it's a federal standard. The difference is going to be 50% less. Get your mom and pop businesses to make you a manager. You're exempt. You can get a weekly paycheck. Hallelujah.
Thank you. So, members, let's now take items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to vote. If you can open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those items are approved. Let's now take general public comment. Do we have a Kayla Guzman? Please come forward. Is she here? Nope, making her way up. Followed by Adam Smith. Is that Veronica Duran? Okay, we have you down. We're gonna we have a few people in front of you, okay? Thank you. Okay, Miss Guzman?
Yes.
Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Kayla Guzman. I'm here today in regards to ARMS, our organization. We come to support the transition to renewable energy as well as in defense of over 300,000 jobs dependent on the traditional everyday structure. A 2,500-foot setback in oil and gas production ties the hands of the industry that heeds to be treated with its due respect. Many hundreds of thousands of people are dependent on the smooth transition from the existing production framework to that of the future. So please help us make the next step in a considerate fashion. Please remember that there are a lot of people impacted by the vote. Vote no on the 2,500-foot oil and gas production setback. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, followed by Teresa Flanagan.
Good morning. Adam
morning.
Smith from White People for Black Lives. I wanted to come by yesterday and speak against a motion that came through that was appropriating $750,000 from the unappropriated balance to the LAPD for the targeting of women and minorities for recruitment. I think it goes without saying that the LAPD needs institutional change, and tokenizing communities isn't going to help. The reason that I wasn't able to come yesterday and speak on the issue before the council was because I was at police commission, and I just wanted to come here today and raise something that folks here have raised today, that all of these meetings, I know that the council president in good faith says that community is welcome at these meetings, but if they're all scheduled on Tuesday at 9:30, it's really hard for communities to come, especially communities already impacted.
Thank you. Teresa? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Teresa. I'm with ARMS. Angelinos are practical people. We have families. We drive to work. Some of us ride the bus. Some of us walk. We buy groceries. We pay rent. and we try and live according to the cost of real life. A 2,500 food setback in oil and gas production threatens to escalate the cost of everyday living. The price of groceries depends on the cost of transport to the store from the manufacturer. The manufacturer also pays for many products that are produced by oil companies and gas. Have no idea how many of our consumers and manufactured goods are produced by oil. Please remember that every day. Vote on the 25 production setback. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir Morita, please come forward, followed by our last speaker, Veronica Duran. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Miranda Morita. I'm with ARMS Organization. We come today in the transition to renewable energy, as well as in defense of the over 300,000 jobs dependent on the transitional energy infrastructure. A 2,500-foot setback in oil and gas production ties the hands of the industry that needs to be treated with its due respect. Many hundreds and thousands of people are depending on a smooth transition from existing production framework to that of the future. Please help us to make that next step in a considerate fashion. Please remember a very real people impacted by this vote. Vote no on the 200 and 500-foot oil and gas production setbacks. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last speaker, Veronica Duran, for general public comment. Good morning. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you, President. My grandpa's a World War II veteran, from World War II, a survivor. He had the Purple Heart, and he taught me never give up. That's why I'm here. I want to shed light on homeless. I followed all protocol, and I'm still homeless. I was beat and left in a puddle of blood where the ambulance picked me up from the shelter. CEO Andy Bell said, don't put on the ambulance because we don't need attention. Nobody's paying attention to us homeless moms that we don't have a mental. Caseworkers are just mixing up families with kids with mental people. We're getting hurt, we're getting killed, we're getting raped. Some moms are not here because they died. And their little kids, they put on the bulletin, oh, little kids are motherless. It's no joke. This is serious. And I get mad at you guys, but please pay attention to us homeless. You know, we're trying. I got a job, I lost it. I just got another job. Now I can't even get into housing. I have a check waiting, but I just need a program that will take a two-party check. If somebody talks to me, please, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your advocacy. Maybe we should connect you and to be a caseworker. We need you out in the forefront. We can connect with you on the side here and get you some, build a partnership with you. Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, what's before us?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
They're posted and referred. What's before us? Actually, that's just clear, correct? Okay.
Correct.
Any announcements, members? Announcements? Okay, can you all rise for adjourning motions? Looking to my left, to my right, any adjourning motions? Okay, seeing none, we are now adjourned. Go forth and serve the people of this great city. Thank you.
Say, for example, in the short story collection, the last story in the collection is a story called The Story of Biddy Mason, who was, she erected the first AME church here in Los Angeles, entrepreneur, nurse, and I